China versus USA, the economic Cold War between two giants. One planet, the world's most powerful democracy and its most populous one. For over 4 decades, the United States and China have walked a tense tightrope, cooperating and colliding across trade routes, tech labs, and geopolitical fault lines. But now, in the 21st century, the tension has hardened. The age of quiet rivalry is over. The era of open confrontation has begun. This is not a war of bombs or tanks. It is a war of tariffs, semiconductors, digital platforms, currency domination, and ideological narratives. This is the economic Cold War. Chapter 1. The Foundations of Entanglement. The strange partnership between China and the United States began in the 1970s. Richard Nixon's historic visit to Beijing in 1972 opened the door. Deng Xiaoping, rising in China's ranks, saw the future. If China was to escape poverty, it needed the world, and the world needed China. By the 1980s and 90s, China was becoming the global assembly line. American companies like Apple, Walmart, and Nike built supply chains that stretched across the Pacific. China offered labor. The US offered capital. It was a marriage of convenience, not love. In 2001, China joined the World Trade Organization. It was a turning point. US policymakers hoped that deeper economic ties would turn China into a responsible stakeholder. But China had other plans. Chapter 2. The Dragon Rises. From 2001 to 2015, China's rise was meteoric. Its GDP surged. Exports exploded. Highways, ports, and factories bloomed. America watched as once dominant industries, textiles, electronics, even steel hollowed out. Towns in the Rust Belt lost jobs. Blue-collar workers felt betrayed. Meanwhile, China was climbing the value chain, no longer just making toys and t-shirts. It moved into electronics, machinery, and later artificial intelligence and green energy. Companies like Huawei and Alibaba challenged American tech supremacy. The sleeping dragon was no longer sleeping. Chapter 3. The Flashpoint, Tariffs, and TikTok. The breaking point came in 2018. The US launched a full-blown trade war. Tariffs were slapped on hundreds of billions in Chinese goods. China retaliated. Farmers, manufacturers, and tech firms became pawns in a geopolitical chess match. Then came the blacklisting of Huawei. The US accused the Chinese telecom giant of espionage and barred it from accessing American semiconductors. TikTok, the viral Chinese app, was nearly banned. Suddenly, tech became territory. China responded with its own playbook, strengthening its domestic markets, investing in homegrown chips, and launching the dual circulation strategy to reduce reliance on foreign supply chains. Chapter 4. Decoupling. A strategic divorce. For decades, the world's two largest economies were intertwined. But now, the unraveling had begun. Multinationals began relocating factories to Vietnam, India, and Mexico. China +1 became the new strategy. Supply chains, once invisible, were being redrawn. American capital was pulled from Chinese stocks. Chinese firms were delisted from US exchanges. It wasn't a full divorce, but it was a strategic separation. Each side was building firewalls, not just in tech, but in trade, academia, media, and diplomacy. Chapter 5. The Tech Cold War. The core of the conflict. Semiconductors. These tiny chips power everything from smartphones to missiles. The US controls the design. China dominates assembly. Taiwan sits in between, home to TSMC, the world's most advanced chip maker. It is the single most critical node in global tech and the most dangerous. America restricted chip exports. China accelerated its own R&D. Billions were poured into quantum computing and 5G. Both nations were racing to own the future. Chapter 6. The Global Battlefield. Influence and infrastructure. This Cold War doesn't have a Berlin Wall. Its front lines are ports, railroads, and fiber optic cables. Through the Belt and Road Initiative, China has financed roads in Kenya, ports in Pakistan, and railways in Eastern Europe. Critics call it debt diplomacy. Supporters call it opportunity. The US responded with its own alliances, reviving the Quad, strengthening NATO ties, and proposing alternatives to Chinese infrastructure. Africa, Southeast Asia, Latin America, they are no longer neutral. They are being courted, pressured, and pulled between superpowers. Chapter 7. Currency, culture, and control beyond trade. This is a battle for systems. The US dollar remains the world's dominant currency, but China is pushing the yuan into global use. Through digital currency pilots, cross-border payment platforms, and swap agreements, Beijing seeks to de-dollarize trade. Soft power is also contested. Hollywood and CNN and CCTV, study abroad programs, censorship fights, information wars. In the digital age, war isn't just fought with weapons, it's fought with narratives. Asterisk Chapter 8. The Future, Cold War, or Cold Peace. Asterisk. Will this end in war? Most likely, no. But the risk is real. Tensions over Taiwan, naval standoffs in the South China Sea, spy balloons and cyber attacks. The rivalry is deepening, but so is the realization that full decoupling may be impossible and unwise. Both economies are massive, interlinked, mutually dependent in ways neither can fully escape. The future may not be cold. War 2.0, it may be cold. Peace, uneasy, competitive, fragile. Conclusion, the new great game. The economic Cold War between China and the US is not just about money. It's about models, systems, visions of what the 21st century should look like. One side offers democracy, open markets, and individual liberty. The other promises state-led growth, national strength, and collective identity. Neither is perfect. Both face internal pressures, but their contest will shape everything from who builds our phones to who sets the rules of the global economy. It's not just about who wins. It's about what kind of world we'll live in when the battle ends.